Interest in four-wheel drive started when I was a little boy, when in Britain, or actually in Wales, when I used to watch the trials of the Land Rovers, and that was about all there was, and maybe a couple of Jeeps every year. My uncle had an old Land Rover, and I guess from riding in that was where my interest started until I came to Australia, and in 1975 I was able to buy my first Series 1 Land Rover. The first thing I realized when I bought the Land Rover is that it was pretty well worn out. It needed heaps of things done to it. And probably this thing here was the start of it. The very first thing when you get in a vehicle that you try, I guess, are the brakes and the steering. Well, the vehicle that I got had virtually no steering. So I needed 6 of these tie rod ends. Now the tie rod ends to buy as a genuine part were very expensive. More than I could afford with a mortgage and 1 young child and my wife not working. So I looked around as I was able to travel around New South Wales, and I had another little secret weapon. I had this little book here. And this book, this tattered old book, lists all the Land Rover dealers throughout the world. In fact, in 1960, there were 54 Land Rover dealers, excluding the major cities in New South Wales. So as I traveled around the state, I would call in, and a lot of these dealers had lost their dealership and they were keen to get rid of stuff. So I was able to purchase some of these at a good price. That started me being able to build my Land Rover. In those days, there was a tremendous camaraderie with Land Rover owners because that was about all there was. And to have one as your your sole vehicle, you had to be quite keen because they were quite rough and slow, and they leaked more water when it rained than standing out in the rain. So consequently, I bought parts while I was away, cheaper parts, and I would put them on my Land Rover. Other people got to know this, and we would form a friendship, and then people would ask me, I need some of these, can you buy them? Yes, I know where there are some, so I would buy them. And consequently then, I would get more and more spare parts at home, and mainly they were for myself. But if people wanted them, we'd start selling them. When I say we, that's my wife and myself, because right from the very word go, my wife was encouraged me to do this and to buy these parts. Little did we ever think that it would grow into a business, probably one of the biggest businesses of its type in Australia. That was a long time ago, in 1975, there we are, that's going back a long time. As it got bigger, as we needed more parts, we found that we'd cleaned out most of the dealers out west in New South Wales. So we needed to buy more parts. So we contacted people around the world to see if they'd supply us. And of course, no one knew of us then, no one had heard of us. We used to be called Land Rover Spares, LANROVA, with a Welsh flavour to it, of course, where I came from. We then started to buy more parts, new parts, but not so much surplus parts. And then it grew and grew and grew, and the decision came to run this business full-time or part-time. Well, quite bravely, my wife supported us in saying that let's go full-time, and that's what we did. In 1985, I gave up my job and started selling Land Rover parts full-time with my wife in a little section under the house. Then it grew. We bought a building, then we bought a second building, then we sold those 2 and bought this building, then we bought another 3 buildings just to sell spare parts, but everything then associated with the spare parts. So I can say with great confidence, the Series 1 tie rod end and the little Land Rover book started us off in 1975.